Welcome to the Conspiracy Cast right here on Tales of Earth, a show where we discuss a conspiracy, mystery, or oddity of some kind. We discuss why we do or don't believe it, and we do this live on twitch.tv/comicstorian every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We also do this live on, we don't know, just twitch.tv/.
You were doing so well. I was like, he's doing
I know, it's because I looked away. If you want, you can support us by subscribing to this channel and hitting that bell icon. You can also find some Tales of Earth merch through the link below. You can also go to patreon.com/comicstorian where you can get early access to the show as well as other goodies. Today with us we have Glorp Andy.
Glorp, everybody.
Yeah. And Glorp Dan.
Glorp.
Yeah, Glorp. Whatever. And Glorp Gary.
Nobody glorping cares.
No.
I just don't give a glorp anymore.
I don't even give a glorp.
Nope. All right. Well, they don't care, so why bother? All right, so initially, like last week, I said that I wanted to look up some conspiracies surrounding Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Okay. Guess what? There aren't any.
Really?
Like any at all.
Oh, okay.
There's this one that I found interesting. This isn't actually our topic of the day, but there's this one. The Philadelphia Cream Cheese Company is boosting a Thanksgiving conspiracy theory. And this comes from
that they had
adweek.com.
cream cheese at the first Thanksgiving.
Cheesecake. They're
Cheesecake?
basically claiming,
Seriously?
yes, yeah.
They're claiming that at
Where's
the
the
very
actual
first
article?
Thanksgiving.
Well, here's the conspiracy, though.
Wait, hold on. We'll get
yeah.
there. So they're claiming that at the very first Thanksgiving there was a cheesecake.
Yes.
It even said the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah. Hey guys, I brought
Yes.
from the Cheesecake
Also,
Factory.
I'm a time traveler.
See, that would be
Yeah.
there's the conspiracy.
Yeah,
Either
there
that
it
the
is.
cheesecake was brought to us by a time traveler or ancient aliens.
Or
It's ancient
Native
aliens.
Americans are the origin of cheesecake.
Or ancient alien Americans.
Interesting.
I mean, in a way, we're alien Americans.
Oh, yeah, we are. Except we're the ones that actually stuck around. The Chinese and the Vikings are like, yeah, this is nice. Oh, there's already people here. Let's leave.
I don't feel like
Yeah.
it.
Vikings were like,
fine.
we don't want to conquer someplace. We don't want to be assholes about it.
Like, no, check out those Mohawks. This
get
place
it.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Let's just
leave them
That's
as
pretty
is.
metal.
respect, man.
It's pretty metal.
That's pretty metal.
It's pretty metal.
Respect, man. All right, so adweek.com says that ask most Americans to picture the first Thanksgiving, and you're bound to get a heaping helping of anachronisms driven by 4 centuries of imaginative depictions of the Pilgrim's Harvest celebration with the Wampanoag tribe. There certainly wasn't any bread stuffing or cranberry sauce, and while it's likely they ate wild turkey, ducks, and geese were likely just as central to the menu, but did they eat cheesecake? That's the question posed by Philadelphia Cream Cheese and agency Gut is the
Just
agency.
Just gut.
In a tongue-in-cheek video about conspiracy theorists called the Cheesecakers Society.
Are you telling me they did not have can-shaped cranberry sauce at the first
No.
Thanksgiving? So my family lied to me all those years?
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yep. Actually, I would say the modern Thanksgiving is really a testament to American cuisine, canned,
Oh, yeah.
pre-prepared, processed cuisine.
Yeah, pretty
Oh,
much.
yeah. You got the canned cranberry sauce, and you've got like the stuffing that's already in a box.
You've
It was
got the
honestly,
canned
it was
turkey.
The
it was
canned
most
turkey. Just-
likely
Giant can.
just a giant. This can opener is huge.
It's just cylindrical.
I would assume
Sliding.
modern Thanksgiving, as
Yeah.
most people may picture it,
Yeah.
probably came around much like modern Christmas, probably around like the early 19th century when
Yeah,
the
yeah,
different
yeah.
corporations were starting to get together. That would
Yeah,
be my assumption.
Industrial Revolution leads
Yeah.
into higher quality of life for everybody, which
Yep.
leads to consumerism and things
Right.
like
That
that.
be my guess.
I mean, that's how the modern Santa Claus came in.
Exactly. Yeah, that was all from
Coca-Cola,
it was all
yeah.
from Coke. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of things that we consider normal that are really very new. Like
Yeah.
I just learned that Merry Christmas comes from Dickens. Christmas Carol.
Does it really?
Yeah, the
just
origin
did
of
not
Merry
know that.
Christmas.
I did not know
is
that.
A Christmas Carol.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which one? Muppet?
Yes.
Mickey?
Yes.
Okay,
there was a book apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
They made
Yeah.
a book based on those
Yeah.
movies.
They made a book based on Scrooged
Interesting.
with Bill Murray.
With Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, although
All right,
it was a little
okay.
more poetic
Yeah, I can see
than,
it.
a little more highbrow. All right, so short answer is no. Of course, the Pilgrims and Native Americans didn't eat cheesecake. They didn't have access to any of the basic ingredients: sugar, cream cheese, sour cream.
We don't know that.
Except for eggs and butter. Oh, and one other small problem: they didn't have ovens either.
I feel like
we
if
don't know that.
anything,
This is also a
it
little
was probably
misleading because
just
they could cook.
Well, it's
Like-
that, and it's also like, well, I'm pretty sure none of those pictures are proper definition for you to decipher anything in a tin from anything else that's in a tin.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So they're pointing out all these like paintings, which are modern paintings
Yeah.
of the first Thanksgiving,
That's
and they're like,
cream
"Oh,
cheese,
is
right?
this a cheesecake?" Actually,
No, that's a plate.
it's probably just a plate with some color, so that the
No,
artist could render
no.
something
It's
that
a
looks
It's
like
actually
food.
it's actually just a dirty plate they couldn't clean.
That's true.
Yeah.
They didn't invent water yet
Anybody?
at that point.
Yeah, water
Didn't
wasn't
invent
invented
any
either.
water.
Yeah. We didn't actually know how to cook until modern kitchens.
That's true.
Yep.
1950s is when everything was invented.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I don't even know how we communicated. Grunts and noises.
Mostly, yeah.
Yep.
Occasionally dance numbers.
Color wasn't invented until the 60s.
Dance numbers.
Yeah.
I believe the people in India, the good people of India, invented dance numbers.
That is true.
Yes. They end every story with a good dance.
Good old
It is also true.
It's very true. Yeah, like the end of Slumdog Millionaire. Like, wait a minute, this wasn't an Indian movie. There's no singing and dancing. Oh, wait. Oh, no, there it is.
There it is.
No, there it is.
So wait, is this
All
our
right,
actual?
so what's the actual conspiracy
conspiracy?
today?
Okay, the actual conspiracy is the moon landing.
Ooh.
Did the United States land on the moon? I would argue
on
that's
Thanksgiving?
on Thanksgiving. I would argue that's
And turkey up there with the Indians. And their cheesecake. Because they had to replicate the first Thanksgiving.
He's like bouncing around the moon.
Oh,
no,
he
there it goes.
trips.
Oh no,
The slow motion turkey
the slow motion turkey.
flies through
Just
the
get it.
sun.
No, wait, I'll get it in a second.
It'll
is
make
cool.
its way around.
This is cool.
It'll make its way around.
Yeah.
And we got
It's a little stale. I would argue that America landing on the moon is an absurd notion. How can an entire country land on the moon?
Oh my god. This is why we don't do podcasts with dads.
Actually, I think it's more likely that a very select few
No.
individuals
False.
who were trained
No,
to go
That's
to the moon is more
stupid.
likely. I mean, my grandparents don't remember going to the moon.
I've been
so
twice,
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Really? What was it like?
My grandpa
Cold.
went.
Cold?
mostly.
Your
And
grandpa?
he actually did.
To the moon?
Sweet.
Yeah. I don't think he actually
anybody will miss
landed.
this rock.
He didn't actually land. He went around the moon a couple times and then came back.
So he didn't land on the moon.
Yeah, but he went to the
He
moon.
went to the moon.
Yeah.
But
That's
no,
cool.
no, he circled the moon.
He went to the moon.
No, he,
He circled
didn't.
the moon.
He circled
And he
it.
saw some-
Yes.
If you
But-
wander around
but
the
in
parking
order
lot
to-
of Best Buy, you didn't go to Best Buy.
But you went to the parking lot of Best Buy. You can't
That's
walk
different.
around the moon without going
That's
to the moon.
different, Dan.
I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to belittle your grandfather's memory, but I also kind of am.
Well, I mean, he's still alive, so there's more than just memory.
We'll get him on the phone and I'll do it to his voice, not to his face.
To his voice.
So I won't be there with him. Sorry, keep going. We're
yeah, no,
tangenting
it's fine.
today.
This is such a-
I figured for this episode I would choose something that's a little more widely known, like a conspiracy that is
It's-
widely debated.
yeah.
We tend to do a lot of more obscure conspiracies.
Everybody knows
Being
we
replaced.
never went to the moon. Stanley Kubrick filmed it at
Yes.
Area 51.
Yes.
I believe one of the astronauts was also Elvis Presley.
That is true.
Yes. They couldn't get any other actors or anything, in there.
Liam
Yeah.
Neeson was trying to find his other kid.
On the moon.
On the moon.
Taken.
Taken
To the
in
moon.
space.
I'd watch that. Keep going, Gary.
I actually would totally watch that.
Oh, just give it time, man. Give it time.
Taken in space.
If James Bond can do space battles,
That's true.
so can Liam Neeson.
if Austin
Taken.
Powers
It's true.
can freeze himself and go to space.
Yeah, why not?
What were we
Okay.
talking about?
The moon landing.
All right. Got it. Moon landing. Keep going.
Spacecenter.co.uk has actually an entire article that addresses both the claims for and against
Okay.
the moon landing. So this is actually a very, very concise article here.
Does it
So-
refer the whalers on the moon, perhaps?
The whalers on the moon?
Just keep going, Gary. Just keep going. We've already tangented
Yeah.
enough.
All right, just keep going.
We don't tangent here.
It's true.
We're
We're
so
always-
on topic.
Yeah,
all
Serious.
the time.
Every time.
All the time.
Yeah. Mankind first stepped foot on the moon on the 20th of July, 1969, achieving what is arguably humanity's greatest
Humanities.
greatest ever feat of exploration. First 2.5 hours, for 2.5 hours, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin explored the lunar surface on foot, while Michael Collins piloted the Apollo 11 orbiter. I'm sure he had a blast with that, around the moon. All right, I'll see you guys later. Come back, please. Think he's going to come back? Yeah, I think so. That's the history that we continue to celebrate today, nearly 50 years on from the first landing, over 50 years now. Many of us either remember watching the landing, I don't, I wasn't born, ourselves, or have heard the memories from our parents and grandparents. But what do you say when someone insists that the moon landings were never really happened?
Well, if you say that to Buzz Aldrin, you get punched in the face.
It's true.
That's true. In this blog, we dig into some of the most common questions around the moon landings and address the more curious lunar phenomena that the latest data and scientific with the latest data and scientific, they're fun. It's like gray, so it's hard to see. Scientific understanding, a vast weight of evidence supports the fact that humans really did land on the moon multiple times between 1969 and 1972. But it is important to question and think critically about events of this scale, and sometimes researching and puzzling out the answers can be quite fun, or can be half the fun.
I feel like it should also be known that the astronauts, when they first walked on the moon, all of them fell because none of them could properly walk with no gravity. And I find that hilarious because I just picture in my head them getting out of the shuttle, being like, "Oh my gosh, this is a oh no, help me."
It's not.
I'm
It's
floating
not,
away.
And then he's like, "Where's my life alert? I've fallen. I can't get up."
It's weird. There's no gravity, but there's some gravity. I don't know what to do with this. And you wouldn't. I mean, we're under such
you totally
pressure
would,
all
and
the
you
time,
can't really like truly replicate it without.
No,
being
not
there.
realistically.
And I just always find that funny because everyone always has that image in their head of
right.
Yeah, he was
perfect
good. Yeah.
strides, but in reality, I just picture. Essentially, Monsters Inc. when they all start tripping in the bloopers. That's what I picture.
I like it.
I think it's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
They're like, guys, this is gonna be epic. That's the quote that we didn't hear.
Yeah,
This is gonna be.
they show you the picture of the footprint. They don't show you the body prints of them falling
all
everywhere.
around
Let's
it.
make moon angels.
I would have done that.
Oh,
I totally would.
Yeah, I would've
I
done
bet
that.
they did.
Yeah. What's amazing is it would last for hundreds of years too. It would just
Yeah,
stay there. Oh, it's amazing.
And then, like,
In the
eventually,
future, they'll be like, "There were angels on the moon."
Lizard angels.
it's true.
That
They
carry
shapeshift.
harpoons.
He's
Moon whaling
switching
thing
back
again?
to he's
Yeah,
switching back
okay.
to Futurama.
Futurama.
All right. Wouldn't the Van Allen belts, I believe that was a band, have fried the astronauts? I'm kidding. One of the most popular theories as to why the moon landings couldn't have happened has to do with something called the Van Allen belts. These are two huge belts of radiation that surrounded the Earth, shaped by Earth's magnetic field and pounded with high energy particles from the sun's wind. It's been claimed that humans couldn't have passed through these belts without being fried with lethal doses of radiation. That is a very common theory.
And become the Fantastic Four.
Yes, and become the Fantastic Four. Yeah. In the last few years, NASA released this very dramatic video about how we were going to go back to the moon, and and in the video they basically say now our biggest challenge is getting through the Van Allen belts. Mm-hmm. People took this as, oh, they just admitted they've never done it before.
Right.
Therefore, we never went to the moon. It's like no. All he said was
it's tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky. That doesn't make it, like, just because your technology advances or you've done it before, it doesn't make it less tricky.
Yeah.
It's how do we use these new systems and ships and not kill our pilots?
Yeah.
So anyway, in fact, the international scientific community was aware of the Van Allen belts thanks to the Explorer, Pioneer, and Luna missions in the 1950s. Luckily, the timings of the Apollo launches were such that the Van Allen belts were at their lowest intensity, which fluctuates with the sun's activity. Also makes sense.
I can see that.
Radiation
It's almost
sickness.
like science.
Yeah.
Science, bitch.
It's almost like conditions with the Earth and the sun.
No.
Everything in the universe changes. through
Right?
time.
It's weird.
Yep.
Crazy.
Like
Making
give it
crap
another billion years, and before the sun consumes us in 3 billion years, in another billion years, our magnetic field will probably die. And
I'll let you guys know when that happens.
Yeah, the
don't
Earth
worry.
will be incinerated.
We'll do an
anyways.
episode of
Just follow me
when
on
it
Twitter,
happens.
and I'll tweet you.
We'll
when
have
it
already
happens.
moved back to Mars and terraformed it, and then
Sure.
forgotten about the Earth.
Yep.
And then the Earth will become a barren wasteland. And
Become the
then-
new Mars.
Yeah,
What if
yeah, that's all that's happening?
we
is
have just
keep
been
going
living
back.
on
just
Mars
keep
and
going
Earth,
back
and
and
we go
forth.
back to one? We're like,
Oh,
wait,
no.
that one looks kind of good. Ours is
Yeah.
kind of dying. Let's go there. Let's
go
there. Let's
over
go
there,
back.
yeah.
Give it a couple
ours
billion
is kind of
years.
dying. That one looks
Yeah.
like it could work. And
We
let's
have
just go
only
back
one
and forth.
Earth and one Mars. Let's go back and forth.
We'll just flip flop between them.
It's kind of like
Oh,
when you
man.
got your pillow. Like you got to
It's the
turn
cool
it, and
side,
you got
the
the cool
warm
side,
side.
and then
Yeah,
you're like,
I'm
oh,
with it.
but it's
Warm.
awful. I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
swap.
Exactly.
That's
a
what I
great
picture.
I
theory.
could see that. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad
We
theory.
keep going back and forth and we keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just last long enough to
Yeah.
spread it through all
And
that
each
time.
planet has its own like Atlantis theory because the original
Right.
colony that landed
Yeah, yeah.
there was highly advanced, sunk into the ocean.
the meteor that
Yeah.
killed the dinosaurs was actually just an early ship they shot a little too
There you
fast.
go. We're coming in hot, like really hot.
Like really hot. Like we're gonna start an ice age hot.
Yeah.
What happened to all those lizards we saw when we were
Yeah, didn't you
landing?
see something down there? No. I remember seeing nothing but burnt things.
Yeah.
Age of Homo sapiens, people. Radiation sickness occurs when you have been exposed to around 200 to 1,000 rads of radiation within a few hours. The Apollo 11 crew were within the belts for less than 2 hours during their journey to the moon, and so would have only been exposed to an estimated 18 rads. Well within the safe limit.
Yeah.
Not somewhere you want to camp out
No.
for an extended period.
I feel like that's safer than going to Chernobyl. Like
Sure.
very.
I think only
much
just
safer.
now is Chernobyl even remotely,
like accessible.
yeah.
And even then, they
accessible,
really
yeah.
do not want you going
Oh,
there.
of course
That's true.
not.
Well, because all the
Yeah.
mutants and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yep, that's where they all
It's
went.
actually Genosha,
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
but they
That's
re-
where
I didn't mean
but
like
they're- but
X-Men
they're bored
mutants. I meant
now.
like
Oh,
monsters.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, a little column A, column B.
Sure.
You got to have the good ones. You got to have the monster ones. It's just how
That is true.
mutations work.
That is a good point.
Yeah. That would be freaky. It's like, well, I came here to hopefully get Wolverine's powers. So when I do the Shink thing, or was it Schnuck?
Snick?
Snick. Oh, well, I've never read an X-Men comic.
Jesus.
Okay, well,
Instead of
you know what
instead
you-
of claws,
Snick.
3 little arms come out.
I was thinking fingers. That'd be
Yeah.
really creepy.
That
I
would
just got
also be
extra
really creepy,
fingers.
Just like
I was actually picturing he had the bones, but he could only do it once, and they just shot out. And he's like, "Oh, there they, son of a bitch!"
then he bleeds out.
And they were essential bones too.
Yeah. And now his arms
mean-
just like
Ah.
they call him
Yeah.
Bone Spear. You can only do it once.
It's a cool name
But
though.
it's like, what is it?
Because all right, that's done.
The boy who can explode. Like, how do you know that you have that power?
The
worry
most
about it.
powerful, most useless power of the
Right.
mutant who can explode once.
Yeah. So NASA made sure that the Apollo 11 spacecraft was well insulated, such that the average dose of radiation over the 12-day mission was just 0.18 rads, or similar to the radiation dosage from a chest X-ray. It's almost like you can insulate against these things.
Unfortunately, they used asbestos.
Now
know
they've
it
got
was bad.
mesothelioma.
Yeah, so there's that.
The next objection is, why did the flag flap?
I
on
had
the
I
moon?
have seen this one.
Yes. Another giveaway that the landing was faked comes from the footage of the American flag that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin placed on the moon. From photos and video, it appears to be flapping in the wind, but hold on a minute. There's no air on the moon, so how can it flutter? Actually, we just discovered that the Earth's atmosphere does reach out to the moon ever so slightly.
Just enough.
Just enough. So that we've actually never, this is the sad part of that, we've never left the Earth's atmosphere.
Oh yeah, we have
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
So, it's a
But
bummer.
it really it does
Well-
it just enough to let the American flag flap the way it should.
yeah, the way it should.
Well, I feel like that's one of those ones though where it's like wind isn't the only thing that makes things flat. If you get very still water,
No.
put cloth in the water,
No.
it will move.
Oh, yeah.
No, it won't.
The truth is that the flag isn't
This,
flapping.
this is how they argue their point for the
No.
record.
If
Just
you-
no.
Keep going.
If you look
No.
closely at the GIF to the left, the flag is in the same position between two frames as the astronaut moves. There is a horizontal rod projecting from the post at the top of the pole
Yeah,
to
there's-
hold the flag unfurled. The flag was disturbed as it was planted into the ground and kept its bent shape because of the lack of strong gravity on the moon.
Oh, so the idea is, especially
on a
when you see
rod.
this as like a still image, people are
Yes.
like, obviously it's
It's
flapping.
But
I got you.
You can literally see the rod.
Yes,
pull the
yeah.
flag out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it like furls in a certain position because of when you're
That's
moving
just
it,
how it's going to stay that
just
way.
gonna stay
yeah.
there.
Plus, you've also got people moving around, and whether or not you're moving, like if you move stuff, like
No.
your specific atmosphere.
No, it doesn't.
No,
Yes.
No.
on the Earth, but not on the Moon.
Yes.
There's nothing. That's why there's no sound.
Right.
'Cause there's no atmosphere to manipulate.
No.
On the moon, there is.
No.
There's no atmosphere.
You literally just said it 5 seconds ago. That
Yes.
the atmosphere
No.
goes
It's-
all the way
it's
up
the
there.
most
No.
faint traces of Earth's
Okay,
atmosphere.
but still,
But
a
it's
very
not- but it's not
faint
enough.
amount of something is something.
Space is not real. That's
Welcome to the. Thank you for watching the Conspiracy
conspiracy.
Cast today. Space isn't real.
Space isn't
Yes,
real.
It's
Space is
just
a
the Earth.
myth.
Yes, it's just the Earth and all of its the simulation.
Yes.
Yep.
This isn't real.
Keep going.
Why
Gary, I'm
can't
with
we
you.
see stars in the moon landing pictures?
It was
Speaking-
cloudy that day. Sorry.
black clouds
Blank
everywhere. Speaking, this is also interesting to me. If all this was staged,
Yes.
do you think they'd like
Would have like touched
If
these
anything,
things
I
up.
would have said
Yeah.
they would have too many of a lot of these things.
Yeah. Right.
It would be overcompensation,
Right.
not shit. We forgot the stars.
Well, it also would have been, it would have been, overcompensation. It would have been things that we would have assumed would have happened on
Yeah.
the moon, or we would have been able to
Yeah,
see
like,
on the moon.
if you're on the moon, you're going to be able to see stars. That makes
Right,
perfect
exactly.
sense.
And then later we'd have to explain away.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, well, turns out. Okay, so why can't we see the stars in the moon landing pictures? Speaking of the flag photographs, it's often pointed out that there are no stars to be seen in the background. This is actually a common feature of photographs from space, where the contrast between light and dark is extreme. The surface of the moon reflects the strong sunlight and appears very bright in photographs. This brightness drowns out the relatively dim light from stars in the dark sky,
Yeah.
akin to how car headlights can drown out the fainter light from nearby objects. The human eye can adjust and pick out the stars, but unless it's set to the right settings, a camera struggles with the contrast. So the astronauts would have seen the stars,
Right.
but the camera, because we're working with limited technology,
Yeah.
especially in the 60s. So the human eye can adjust and pick out the stars, but unless it's set to the right settings, a camera struggles with the contrast. Astronauts on the International Space Station today regularly take photographs of the Earth that show a completely starless background, but it's the same problem of contrasts at work.
Give me just 1 second.
and also
Sure.
space is fake.
Space is fake. So there's no point to anything we're talking about.
Because space isn't real.
Space isn't real.
Yes.
I'm going to have Thanksgiving dinner on the moon. You've inspired me.
I'm here for you.
Oh, thanks.
Well, you can't. Because the moon doesn't exist. It's fake.
In reality, the moon is like
Okay.
this big
Mm-hmm.
and like a painting.
That's fair.
And it's what?
A painting, like
It's
on
a
the
painting.
ceiling
Oh, that's fair.
of the
Yeah.
world.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
And the ceiling
My head-
rotates between day and night.
Exactly.
that.
Yep. It just
Yep.
spins. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a hollow Earth or a flat Earth. It's like it's a circular.
It's like a spinning
it's
top.
a sphere Earth, yeah, but with like an adjustable
Yeah,
shell.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
What's the problem?
That's great.
Perfect sense to me.
All right.
Okay, sorry about that.
What about those funny shadows? Let's talk about the shadows in photographs from the moon. One of the subtler arguments against the moon landings has to do with the non-parallel shadows. If the sun is the only source of light, why do some shadows appear to point in multiple directions? For example, in the picture on the left, the astronaut's shadow matches up with the lander's, but there seems to be another shadow from the lander foot pointing towards the astronaut. There must be additional studio lights to explain this. Actually,
I'm pretty sure the shuttle had lights on it too.
maybe.
Be my
I
assumption.
mean, yeah, you don't know what you're gonna.
Because I mean, you wouldn't
experience
go
out
out
there.
there and be
Right.
like, "Oh crap, it's super dark and we got no lights."
Quick, bring out your iPhones.
iPhones were invented in the 60s.
Yep.
All right. So
That's true.
actually, a rough, uneven surface can cause all sorts of shadows at different angles, even with a single light source like the sun. This is something that can easily be experimented with at home. The combination of the moon's rough surface and the long shadows from a sun low in the sky can easily create complicated shadows. The funny shadow in the picture above is likely created by an uneven ridge that extends towards the astronaut and a low angle sun. Whoa. they're missing a word there. Yeah. So shadows easily explained. And I believe the other explanation is that if it were staged, the number of lights and the amount of power that they would have needed to create this specific lighting, if they were to do this in a studio, would have been obscenely expensive.
More expensive than actually going to the moon.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah, faking the moon landing would have been more expensive than just actually doing it.
Plus, like a lot of that one is.
What if we just sent one to the moon? No.
Well, the funny one about that is they're like,
We'll hire Stanley
well, the
Kubrick.
lander has a shadow going towards it, and it's like, yes, but the astronaut right there does not also have a shadow. Which, if it's a studio light,
Right.
True, yeah.
they would also be casting that same angular shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Because it's more cost effective to hire like one of the biggest directors in Hollywood.
Yeah.
On top of
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of the expensive NDAs.
All right. So the rock
not
prop
cheap.
labeled with a C. The infamous labeled rock from the Apollo 16 missions. Movie props are often numbered and lettered so that stagehands know where to place them. The theory goes that the rock in the photo to the left is a prop that someone must have accidentally placed facing the wrong way. But in fact, the label simply isn't there. The image of the rock is taken from a much larger shot of the moon's surface, and if you look at the original image shown below left, the marking isn't there. Either a small hair or piece of thread must have got caught in the machine while it was being copied.
Okay, I'm just gonna straight up say that one is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because how many times do you see a stain of something and you go,
And it looks like something.
that looks like this
Yeah.
exact
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
or
And-
a piece of toast that looks like Jesus.
Well, yeah.
First of all, he was in my toast.
Because that's just where he is.
That's where he always hangs out.
I'm just saying though, like it's
Yeah.
it's a very basic shape.
No,
like it's not even like it's
no,
something
no.
ridiculous.
Also, the whole
That's
they
still
label
just
things
like,
on
ugh.
on studio sets, right? Yes, they label them, usually on the shelf. And look at how many rocks there are in this
Yeah.
scene.
No.
You're telling me they're going to label every single one?
Yes.
And this is the only one that actually has a label? How
Yeah,
do they
that's-
remember?
Oh man.
Yes, this was
Yep.
the C Rock section.
The C rock section.
Yeah, and all these
Yeah,
are from
yeah.
that section.
Because you have to label all of your rocks
Yes.
for a scene.
God,
Can
you
I
guys.
get the C rocks over here?
And the
Give me
A
the
rocks
J's over there.
Yep.
We're not using B's today. Put those back.
Yep. Oh man.
and
All
who
right.
let Kid Rock in here? I don't know. I got nothing.
That would prove
Dwayne, what are you doing here?
Oh, all these rocks.
Dwayne's
Get these
sitting in the
rocks
back.
out of here.
You said you needed the rock.
So modern proof. There are, of course, many more arguments against the moon landings out there. Many of them are addressed on sites like clavius.org, which is a good resource for all things related to Apollo. But the key thing to do when presented with questions and theories surrounding the moon landing is to ask questions, think about logical explanations, and do your homework. There are vast swaths of archival material out there, all of NASA's missions, past and present, and it can be a fascinating journey. But we didn't want to spend all this time. Okay, blah blah. Apollo 15 site, past and present. The image on the top left was taken by the Apollo 15 crew in 1971. The image below is a 3D visualization from several photos captured by a Japanese lunar orbiter called Selene in 2008. The camera on Selene didn't have the resolution to capture individual rocks, but two images are obviously of the same terrain in the same scenery. From lunar missions separated by 37 years and directed by space agencies from two different countries.
So you're telling me that NASA let the Japanese into the soundstage to take photos, and they've kept the set up this entire time?
Yes, they did.
That's impressive.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Usually they tear them down.
Yep. Well, they've used the set for like Star Trek. And
Oh, that's
Star
good. That's a good
Wars.
point. Yeah, it's a good point.
And
Yeah.
for the documentary
Yeah.
about the
About the moon landing
Yeah.
the whalers.
and the whalers on the moon. Dan, thank you for being you. All right, we can see the astronauts' footprints. We can actually see the footprints in spacecraft left behind by the Apollo astronauts. It is often claimed that if we really landed on the moon, that it should be fairly easy to see the evidence with a telescope such as Hubble. But as powerful as Hubble is at spying galaxies, it simply doesn't have the resolution to pick up fine details like spacecraft on the moon. They're too small, and the moon is too far away. Thankfully, we do have a closer spacecraft, NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which has been in orbit around the moon since 2009. And it has captured recent photographs of all the Apollo landing sites. These images show the Apollo spacecraft in exactly the right locations, and amazingly, you can even see the astronauts' footprints as they explored the lunar home. Yeah, so there's these long trails of footprints.
No body prints from where they fell down, though.
Nope.
Or did.
Or
Moon angels.
Moon
Yeah,
angels.
moon angels.
Those actual craters, they were like, oh crap, turn that into a crater. Let's dig this out.
Stamp on it really
No
hard.
one will know.
Yeah, we don't want to look like idiots up here.
You've got moon dust all over the side of your head, though.
No, I don't.
The proofs in the moon rock. Finally, we have the proof that the moon landings actually happened right here on Earth in the form of moon rocks. The image on the left is a glass spheral. What?
I just like, that's their argument. We found the moon rocks, guys.
We have moon rocks.
So obviously.
It's a gray rock. It's from the moon.
It was on the Earth. Obviously.
The image on the left is a glass spheral, of which many were found in the 382 kilograms of moon rocks that were brought back by the Apollo crew. Glass spherules are produced in two key ways: in explosive volcanic activity and high-speed meteorite impacts that melt and vaporize rock. In either case, the rock needs time to cool and crystallize slowly. On Earth, the elements quickly break down any volcanically produced glass, but in space, glass spherules survive nearly pristine, and we found them in both meteorites that have fallen to Earth and in the moon rocks returned from the Apollo missions, proving that the Apollo crew were indeed space travelers.
No.
Space isn't real, right?
Space isn't real. I feel like anyone's listening to me.
When the first rocks were returned from Apollo 11 mission, samples were given to 135 different countries around the world. That's a lot of moon rocks. As a gesture of goodwill. Here's a rock.
Yeah, it's like such a crappy gift. Hey, we went to the moon. We brought you a rock. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Oh, man.
What else would you bring them?
I don't know, but just to me, it's just like, yeah, we did this amazing thing.
know,
Here's a rock.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Also rub it in your face.
Yeah.
We went to the moon.
I mean, you're
didn't.
right. What else? I mean, there's no gift shop.
They go up there and they're like, what do you want to bring them?
It would be great to know if they made T-shirts.
Bring a rock.
It's like America went to the moon.
All I
and
got
all
was
the
a
guys-
stupid rock. Oh, man.
And on the back, and a rock.
And a rock.
I can imagine the United States like reaching out to another country and saying, and what can we bring you to show our goodwill? And they're like whispering in the background, you got any more of those moon rocks? Yeah? Okay.
They gave him an actual rock. We were talking about something else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, things are rough here.
Bring us back a moon man.
A moon
Or
man.
even better, a moon woman.
Oh. When the first rocks were returned from the Apollo 11 mission,
Yeah, we did this.
these rocks have withstood every possible geology test from labs around the world, and these have confirmed they are indeed of lunar origin. No other space mission, manned or unmanned, has been capable of returning such quantities of rock. The Soviet Union's Luna unmanned program did bring back some rocks in the 1970s, but only a third of 1 kilogram. Wow. These rocks have been shared with international scientists and match the characteristics of the Apollo moon rocks. They just wanted to prove that we actually did it.
Yeah.
So those are the main theories.
They probably went up there and they were like, we don't need that many. They're all pretty much the same.
Put a couple in your pocket. We'll go.
I don't know, you got the one guy who's like, oh, should I take this one?
Wait, which one looks
take
better
this
to
one?
you?
This one?
Yeah.
No.
This one's shinier.
I don't know.
This one looks more moony.
Yeah.
Which weighs more?
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It's like, hey, we got to go. Like, the way the moon orbits and everything, it's all math. We're on a schedule. No.
Math
Van
isn't
Halen's
real.
his waves are going to kill us.
Van Halen's way.
Yeah, Van Halen's waves. Yes, that should be an album.
That should be the Van Halen belt.
The Van Halen belt.
There it is.
It's the rock belt. Oh, moon rocks. Van Allen belts.
Jesus.
Yep.
So here would be my argument.
Yes.
Space doesn't exist.
Because space doesn't exist. And we never went to the moon. All of their proof comes from the government or more photos from satellites.
Sure.
Right.
You could just be like, well, those are fake. Just like the actual moon landing
NASA's
was.
information is
Yeah,
fake.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's all
Right.
fake.
Yeah.
So I could see why people are
Russia's in on it.
Yeah. I could see why if you're already disbelieving that we we landed on the moon, no amount of evidence, short of going to the moon yourself.
Right. Well,
I think
like this, I could just be like, yeah, you guys just made another photo. Like,
or this looks like it's rendered in an old 3D
yeah,
program.
exactly.
Oh, it totally
you know what I'm
does.
saying?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these, it's the reason why, yes, I agree the government would probably hide it. I think the reason why if it was fake, they would have told us is because I'm pretty sure everyone in the world would have been jumping at the opportunity to call the United States out for faking a moon landing.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure that's something that even if you're allies with the United States, you would come out and be like, no, they did not.
They didn't do it.
We're gonna and show you how to actually do it.
Right, yeah.
That's
Right.
fake.
But
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Though, like,
No,
I don't
yes.
think we faked it. I obviously do
either.
think. I think
Right.
space is fake, but I think it goes just beyond the moon. Would be my theory.
That's fair.
But no,
I mean,
that would be my.
to each
I
their own.
understand
Okay.
why people are still like, well, it's fake,
Right.
Because if you already don't believe we went there, short of going there, nothing
Nothing's
I
gonna-
show you
Nothing's
is going to
gonna
prove it to
well, it's fake.
you.
Your
yeah.
answer is always, well, it's
Yeah,
fake.
well, it's
Yeah.
fake. Okay, you
fake.
faked a new photo. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, here, you're on the moon.
Yeah, it's like, short of kidnapping them and
Now this is
taking
fake.
them to the moon.
This is like a VR headset or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it. No.
Watch.
Don't take your
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
But yeah, I mean, space is fake and only
Right.
goes just beyond the moon.
Right. Well, and I think, another explanation could be that Stanley Kubrick had already made a different version of 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh,
And what he did is he gave NASA the footage.
interesting.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. It was like his short film concept.
Right.
For
that,
2001. It
Right.
was all in black and white. And he was like, here, you can have it.
I could see that.
Pay me for it.
And they were like, "There's not a lot of story to this," and he was like, "All right, you make a good point.
We can put a laugh track on.
I'll
there.
make.
Put a
I'll,
laugh track. Look at them fall into space dust. Ah.
I'll just make it longer and more boring."
Oh, man. Instead of a 4-point lighting system, that's like a 1-point lighting system.
That means nothing
Because
to
it's
me.
the
Yeah.
sun.
Oh, I see. Okay, I was like, that means nothing to
You're
me.
saying that to two people then.
yeah.
I'm not a film guy.
Yeah. No. All right.
It sounded like a good
Eddie-
joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure, if I
okay.
was into film, it would have been hilarious.
Stanley Kubrick would have gotten it.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah. And then I also would have told him that. Never mind. I appreciate.
He's watching,
I
so
appreciate Stanley Kubrick's. Isn't he dead?
no. He's watching from heaven, which is also fake.
Which.
It's on the other side.
It's
of
on the
space.
other side.
All
of
the
moon.
toast served in heaven
Yeah.
has Jesus burned into it.
And the person who got it was just because an angel dropped it. Oh shit, my toast!
Yo, man.
man.
You did this last time with the manna incident, Come on.
Okay.
All right.
gosh.
So, moon landing? Fake, not fake?
Not fake.
Not fake.
I-
no.
in all
yeah. I would
serious,
agree.
no, it's
No.
not fake. That's
Space fake. Moon landing real.
Yes. Earth flat.
Yes.
Ugh.
But
And
the moon
hollow.
landing, totally real.
Yeah, I always just find it funny though when people argue with the, well, we haven't gone back, and it's like, well, what reason is there to
mean,
spend
really,
millions
there was
of
no-
dollars
Right.
to
Yeah.
go back to a place that
the thing is-
the only thing we could take was
Right.
rocks.
We went back several times.
and even then, we just came back with differently shaped rocks.
Yeah. It's
We
true.
need to set
We
up
came
a
back
colony.
with the J section.
We realized that it was a really great gift to other countries. We're like, go get some more, and then we'll
You
call
know what
it
we
good.
haven't been handing out in a while? Moon rocks. We should set up a colony on the moon and a big laser so that when our enemies start getting rambunctious, we shoot them with the big laser.
So this is like YouTube terms and conditions, which are extremely vague.
Yes.
So rambunctious could mean anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've always wanted like a star of death. I don't know what I would call it.
I don't know. So you're gonna hollow out the moon,
Right.
but build like an interior frame,
Sure.
some living quarters.
Yes.
Okay.
Possibly a propulsion system.
Okay.
So we can then take our star of death to different places.
And you're gonna alter the breathing apparatuses.
Apparatuses, yes.
Apparati.
Sure.
To make it sound a little more cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
No.
That's like taxpayer gold.
Yeah. However,
True. Now, if
you
space
will get a
wasn't fake-
tax cut if you leave like one spot that's just not as strong as
That's
the
fair.
rest.
That
It
makes
counts
sense.
as like the disability
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
station.
Okay, here's a quick question we can wrap up the show with. Do you think anything that our space program has done, that NASA has done, that is fake?
That is fake.
So if we know that the moon landing was real, every time we went, it was real.
Sure.
Is there anything they have done that you think, I don't know, that seems fake?
No.
Hubble photos?
It's different for me because I do like have family that was in
Oh,
NASA,
sure.
so it's a little bit different. But no, not like I think if anything they did was faked, it would have been the moon landing, and I do not think that was fake.
Just to stick it to the
Therefore,
Russians?
I just don't think. Yeah, essentially, I think
Yeah.
it was.
we totally did that, guys.
Yeah.
Like I think that was like the main reason we brought back the rocks was to just go, hey Russia,
Look
where
over
are
there.
your rocks? Where are your
Yeah.
rocks? I'll give you this little one.
Hey, Russia.
But I
that was
want you to make sure you
Sputnik.
see. they go, here's your rock, and then they walk around and they, you just put dust on a potato. I got you. It's a Sputnik. Get it?
This
It's
is
like
fine.
a station.
This potato says Nick on it.
Nah, too far.
Oh, come on. I'm actually with you. I don't think NASA's really faked anything because they have nothing to gain.
No,
They might have hidden
faking
things.
anything.
If
Well, sure, maybe
anything,
hidden
yes.
things.
If
Hidden
anything,
things,
I would
yeah.
say I don't think they would have not done something and said they did, but I could see them doing something and say that they didn't.
Yeah. I
What
can
they
see
did
that.
hide is the fact that the moon actually is made of cheese.
Oh my
And so
gosh,
they
Wallace
gave
and
us-
Gromit were
yeah,
right.
They were right.
Those
They
bastards.
were right. Or the crab people on the moon. Well, thank you for watching this episode of Conspiracy Cast.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. You can find Dan. Where can they find you?
They can find me at Glorp, the Glorp Glorp. Or Dante Producer on Twitter and
that's
Instagram, and Dante Streamer on
MySpace,
Twitch.
right?
I kind of like Glorp the Glorp Glorp.
That was nice. I should start one called that.
Glorp the Glorp Glorp.
Glorp, glorp, glorp. We'll make it afterwards.
We'll make
Yeah. Andy, where can they find you?
You can find
Or
me at
Andy?
Fry the Andy on Instagram.
It's the snow.
Yeah, it's
We are
just,
having
on
so much
Instagram.
trouble today.
We are.
Follow me or don't. Either way, you can glorp yourself.
Have you been drinking?
Maybe.
Well,
Glorp
you.
You go glorp yourself.
Glorp your
you
moon
can,
rocks.
You can find me on Twitter at Film Circuit and on Instagram at Northward Films, or check out my website, northwardfilms.com, which I've actually had for a long time, way longer than I had my YouTube channel, but I've just never talked about it. You can also find us on Glorp Space. .glorp.
We should make a new thing called Glorp Space.
Glorp Space.
It's a conspiracy social media outlet.
Boom. Glorp Space.
I love it.
You just got glorped. Thank you.
Glorp, everybody.